Well, you may be a little bit surprised to see I'm looking at a textile art book today. Layer, paint and stitch, create textile art using freehand machine embroidery and hand stitching. But I love textiles. Before I even learnt to love art, painting and drawing, I loved working with textiles. My grandma taught me to knit, sew and embroider at a really young age. A friend taught me to crochet, and when I was a teenager I used to design and make all my own clothes. And then after I finished art college with my graphic design and I was working, I went to an exhibition, and it was all hand stitched embroideries and quilting and patchwork, and the ladies there were creating some beautiful work, and I immediately was absolutely blown away by the work at this exhibition, and I thought I can take my textile art further than I am doing now. So I enrolled in a course that was 1 day a week, which was textile design, and I also took another 2 part-time courses, which was patchwork and quilting and hand embroidery. And very soon I was creating pictures where I painted the background and I did all the stitching by hand, and I absolutely loved it. So anyway, I'm now at the stage where I struggle to do any hand stitching. A few years ago, this book came out in 2015, and I thought I need to try and learn machine embroidery and see whether I will enjoy doing that as much as the hand stitching. So I got this book, and then I didn't actually get a new sewing machine. My old one was very, very old, and I really needed a newer sewing machine. Didn't manage to get one, so the book sat on the shelf, and when we moved house it was packed up with some other art and craft books, and when we unpacked at the other side of the house move, it wasn't there, and I realised I had a whole box of books missing. Now we assume they have accidentally gone to charity shop, but we donated to 3 different charity shops and they've passed the books around to other places. I don't know where my books have gone. So I have replaced a few of the books. I've had to just let the others go because, you know, I can't replace all of the books. But the ones that I really wanted to use still, I have replaced. So this is my 2nd copy of the book, which I bought recently because I'm now seriously looking at trying to do some machine embroidery, and I don't really know where to start. But I love this book because it's contemporary, it's bright, it's colourful. I do have some older books on machine embroidery, but I wanted something new to inspire me. I wanted some fresh ideas. Now I still remember how to hand embroider and I remember how to paint the backgrounds, but it is just purely the machine embroidery. But I just thought this is such a pretty book inside. So you have all the things you'd expect, like your materials, but we've then got freehand machine stitching, hand stitching, playing with colour, playing with texture, design. We've got some step-by-step projects, which is summer meadow, iris. We've got architecture, some more projects, landscapes, and some 3-dimensional inspiration. So this is quite a big book, so I'm going to flick through. So we have the introduction and different materials, the paints, dyes, general equipment, sewing equipment, inspiration. I think books like this, even if you know how to embroider, they're just full of exciting things like colour, the inspiration there. Now this is the bit I was particularly interested in because I've never done any freehand machine stitching, and I like to see that all of the illustrations, the photographs are nice and clear. You can see a contrasting colour of the thread, so you can see exactly what the author is trying to demonstrate here. We have a lot here, machining tips, as I am a complete beginner at machine embroidery, so I wanted something that would teach me and show me exactly how to create these effects, and I think this section is very nicely done. We've even got loading a bobbin with thicker thread, and then we move on to the hand stitching, which I think is lovely. And we've got playing with colour, diluting your paints, different ways of creating your backgrounds, printing, stencils, playing with texture, design. So you can see it has absolutely everything you need at the beginning to actually start off, to know where to start, and then we move on to flowers and this beautiful summer meadow. So what you need, all your equipment, you can see here with the pins, coloured pins are used here, so you can see where the little bits of lace are being stitched on. We've even got the press in here. You can see all of these pictures very clear, very easy to understand. You can just see how the picture is coming together. Absolutely beautiful, lovely big clear pictures. And we move on to the iris. You have lots of instructions. So there's not a huge amount of projects, but the projects are all in great detail. Now at the end of flowers we have this beautiful little gallery, and we move on to architecture. We've got 2 projects there again. Little gallery. And we move on to landscapes. This is beautiful. So every step that you need to help you to create a picture. Now I never follow the step-by-step instructions to create the same picture. I use the techniques, I learn the techniques, but then I use my own designs, and that's because design is something I absolutely love. Design is something I've worked in, and I always like to create my own individual pictures. But even without doing the step-by-step projects, you can learn the techniques. If that is your thing, you can actually go ahead, and here we have the 3-dimensional inspiration. You can actually learn from the techniques and apply them to your own projects. And if you are not a person who knows, how to design, you're not interested in designing, then you've got these beautiful projects to work through. So lots of ideas in there, and I just think this is such a lovely book. I'm very sad that I lost my first copy, but obviously the charity shop or somebody who bought the book would have benefited. But I just think this is such a nice book to learn machine embroidery, and it's very versatile because you've got the creating the coloured backgrounds, and you've got the freehand machine embroidery and the hand stitching. And so if you're like me, you can use it to create your own designs and just use the techniques, or if you need some step-by-step projects, it's all in the book.